morning, everyone. I'm Cliff Drysdale with the Messehalle in Hanover, Germany. It is the World Championship alongside Fred Stolle, Patrick McEnroe. This is the final day of the round robin. We've had the Rocky music already, and yesterday Boris Becker said it was incredible. It was the most amazing feeling I've ever had walking on a tennis court. But on the other hand, I really had to calm down. My emotions were flying so high at the beginning of the match. Well, yesterday Becker beat the #1 player in the world, Pete Sampras. Today, Pete Sampras takes on Yevgeny Kafelnikov. Sampras is 25 years old. He's 6'1". Tampa, Florida is home for him. He likes the hard courts that he grew up on in California. He is the #1 player in the world. He has won nearly $24 million. It may well be a heck of a lot more than that come the end of this week, because the winner will take home as much as $1.4 million if they don't lose a match. He has already lost one. He has made over $2 million so far in earnings this year, and that's just on-court earnings. He takes on Yevgeny Kafelnikov, the Russian, the man in the blue and yellow, as you can see. Yevgeny Kafelnikov is 22 years old, the youngest player in the championship from Sochi, Russia. And he's ranked #3, so this is a battle of #1 and #3. He's made over $2 million this year, more than Sampras, in fact, and career earnings of over $5 million. Kafelnikov will serve first ball in the air to the #1 player in the world. Let me make one thing clear. Forget the round-robin competition. What's at stake now? The winner of this match plays in the semifinals. Two other matches today. Becker will take on Enquist. As you look at Lars Graf, who's the umpire for this match, that you can see at 1 o'clock on ESPN. Becker and Enquist, and then Muster and Krajicek will play tonight. You won't see that match, but the winner of that match will also be in the semifinals, joining Becker and Ivanisevic.
There's a tough one for Sampras, coming off that very difficult defeat yesterday. He let the crowd get to him eventually in that defeat with Boris Becker. It was an unbelievable tennis match, though. But Sampras today has to serve a little bit, but only at 52% in that match against Becker, and certainly must improve on break point chances. He has to be able to break. Gets a little bit of help from the net court here and gets the approach back into the backhand corner, which makes an easy overhead for Sampras.
Sampras leads in a head-to-head between these two, 5-2. The last time they played was in Basel, or Basel, however you like it, in Switzerland. This year, that won by Sampras in straight sets. But Kafelnikov beat him this year at the French Championships on clay. A bigger event, but a much less friendly surface to Sampras. Double fault, break point for Sampras.
Well, this is an indication. You see how things go here today. He had 10 break point opportunities against Becker yesterday and was only able to convert one of them.
Sampras said that he did not break early in the match against Becker, and it cost him. He was right. Today he has the early break. 1 game to love. First set. ESPN2 and the ATP Tour proudly present the ATP Tour World Championships. Brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, sponsor of the 1996 ATP Tour. Ace from Sampras on the first serve point of his in the match, 15 love. And 1 game to love Sampras. Patrick McEnroe is getting ready for the Australian Open already. He's been working out. How are you feeling, Patrick?
I'm feeling great, but I think Pete Sampras is feeling a little bit better, getting that early break. We saw yesterday, as Fred mentioned, he let those break point opportunities slip by yesterday. Good sign from him that he got that quick break, and I look for Pete to be real strong today.
Thanks, Patrick. A reminder that the winner of this match will play in the semi-finals tomorrow here at the World Championship.
But remember the match that Sampras played against Kafelnikov in '95 in Russia in the Davis Cup. He'd cramped in that exciting match against Chesnikov, and then they picked him in the doubles. He came out and won that with Todd Martin. The last day, the decisive match, the big one, he took out Kafelnikov very, very easily on clay, 6-2, 6-4, 7-6 in a very clean match.
I think Kafelnikov's got a lot of respect for Pete Sampras. So does everybody who plays tennis, and I think he's intimidated by the world's #1 to some extent. Remember that
on any other surface but clay, probably.
Yeah, he beat him this year at the French.
Yeah,
as we've already said.
Spiel Sampras.
Again, let's remind you that in the semi-final, the winner of this match will take on Goran Ivanisevic, who won his division. He won the white division. This is the red group. And the winner of this match will end up being #2 in this group. So #2 plays #1 from the white group. It's jammed again today. Nice.
That is Yevgeny Kafelnikov's girlfriend, Marcia, who he has been going out with for some time. Looked up and saw herself on the screen there.
I wonder what she thinks about his designer outfit.
Yeah.
I don't think he's crazy about it, to tell you the truth. He was talking about it the other day, and he said, hey, listen, I'll wear what they give me.
Forehand, you can see that practice swing of the forehand again there from Sampras. That let him down badly. That's his favourite shot. He did not complete too many of them yesterday into winners.
Boris Becker beat Kafelnikov, and there is Kafelnikov's group. Anatoly Lipashin is the coach in the front. So he's on the board. He's trailing 2 games to 1. Sampras to serve. It's the World Championship. We are live in Hanover. Stay with us. Right back.
He leads 2 games to 1.
Pete Sampras took out Michael Chang in straight sets in the US Open. That was his only Grand Slam win of the year. Michael Chang had been in the final of the Australian Open. Here's a look at Sampras serving to Kafelnikov live in Hanover at the World Championship. He qualified here as the top player, Kafelnikov as the #3 player. No player other than Kafelnikov and Todd Woodbridge won 100 matches in singles and doubles this year. Love. Oh, yes.
Those are the talent that Kafelnikov has. A very wristy forehand, helped by the net on that one.
Same attempt, that time short. Game point Sampras. Boris Becker, after beating Sampras yesterday, said the only problem today was it wasn't the final of a major championship, but the quality, it was a level I haven't reached probably ever in my career. And that's what you said yesterday, Fred.
Well, we felt that was one of the best indoor match that I've seen. Quality of tennis was just terrific. I'll tell you a little bit about the stats in that match in a moment.
Spiel Sampras.
Game Sampras, 3 games to 1.
3 games to 1 with Sampras. The stats, the ATP Tour match facts are very, very helpful for what we do. They keep stats in 12 categories. And in that match yesterday, Pete Sampras won that battle of statistics in 9 of the 12. But he lost out in the 3 important ones. He served 15 aces to Becker's 24. He was behind in the 2 most important stats that we keep. That's break points saved and break points won.
That was the key right there.
That was the difference. They both won 94 of 188 points. That's how close it was.
Becker, again, you'll see him at 1 o'clock this afternoon, Eastern Time on ESPN. He'll play Thomas Enquist, the Swede.
And Cliff, I think they were going crazy for Boris yesterday. Well, today's Boris's birthday, so you know the crowd can really be into it today.
2 double faults from Kafelnikov so far in the match.
Patrick, where does conventional wisdom say you attack Sampras, forehand or backhand?
Well, conventional definitely says backhand, but yesterday he hit the backhand great. As you guys talked about already, he was shaky on the forehand, but over the long haul, for sure, his forehand's stronger shot.
And we talked about Kafelnikov the other day, and how do you feel about that?
Well, I think you guys are probably right, because he's got that big swing on the forehand, particularly on a fast court. He can make a few more errors on the forehand, although he does hit some big winners with it as well.
Break point now for Sampras. Again.
Oh, that's just wide.
Cheers.
Gee, he made one of those on a big point yesterday. That was the only service break he had yesterday. Out of those 10 break points, Sampras hit one like this, flick it at the last minute across in front of Kafelnikov. Yesterday it was Becker, and he made it.
Kafelnikov.
Anatoly Lepeshin is a very, very good friend of Kafelnikov's. He's also his coach. Kafelnikov left his hometown of Sochi, Russia, which is a delightful seaside resort, to go to Moscow to join Lepeshin. Kafelnikov holds on. He's down a break. Sampras will serve, leading 3-2 per set. This is live coverage of the World Championship from Hanover, Germany. It's Pete Sampras taking off Yevgeny Kafelnikov. There's a look at Paul Annacone in the hat, in about the middle of your screen, talking to Todd Snyder, the trainer of Sampras. And you had a chance to talk to him last night, Patrick.
Yeah, I talked to him, and he had a real good point, and I'll tell you about it after this point. He told Pete, Pete was pretty upset, obviously, about losing that match to Boris. And he intimated that Pete definitely would like another chance at Boris, hopefully in the final if he can reach it. But Paul sat him down and said, look, you lost that match, but you've had 2 tough matches. You played well in both matches. But now it's like the quarterfinals. You know, it's Friday. Pete gets pumped for the weekend. He said it's quarterfinal time. And look at it that way. Look at it. You got 3 matches to go to win the World Championship.
30. Paul Annacone taken over from Tim Gullickson, who lost his battle with brain cancer earlier this year.
Oh, this is a bad game for Sampras because he had a breakpoint opportunity in that last game to run out to a 4-1 lead. He didn't convert it again. And he's hit a double fault and an easy backhand volley. This one's not a difficult shot. It's a high volley. You can see how he just drags the racket down just a little too quickly. 3 break points now for Kafelnikov.
Sampras usually does not complain unless, let's take a look.
And it's good, right on the button.
Right on the line. Patrick, he has a reputation of never complaining unless he's right, doesn't he?
Well, he was right about that one, and
Yeah.
he was not at all happy with that call, and he took out a little frustration with that great backhand up the line.
That's 2 breakpoints saved, 1 more for Kafelnikov.
Interestingly enough, the tactic there was Sampras. Watch this. He goes to the forehand side of Kafelnikov. It's a brilliant forehand, but it's also pretty unreliable. It's pretty patchy.
Wristy.
Very wristy.
Like a good squash player.
Another one to the forehand on a big point.
And that was a big second serve there, guys. 188 kilometers on the second serve on break point. What's that come out to in miles per hour up there, Freddie?
188, 113 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Lars Graf in the chair.
Big point that was.
Sampras.
Sampras holds on. He has a 4-2 lead, but he came back from love 40.
That's a big hold for Sampras, that one, because Kafelnikov was on a roll. He knew that he escaped by getting out of trouble in his own service game, and then to have Sampras down love 40. He's suffering for the same disease that Sampras had yesterday. He's had a lot of break point opportunities and hasn't been able to convert.
You saw the title leaders there. Sampras won 7. Kafelnikov has 4, including the French Open. Sampras has 7, including the US Open.
This is the wristy forehand again. That one up a much slower shot. Buried another one.
You're right about that, Fred. When he has a little time on the forehand, then it's deadly, because then he could get that big swing by it. When the ball comes quickly or stays low to his forehand, that's when Kafelnikov has trouble.
He doesn't have the ability on the return of serve to shorten the backswing down, does he? He still takes a pretty good rip at it.
Sampras walks knowing that he's got the breaker serve in hand. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Sampras will serve to try to go up 5-3. It's 4-3 now.
Just got to learn to be able to
World Championship that you're watching. This is Patrick McEnroe's voice from courtside. And Patrick, this has got some interesting elements, doesn't it?
Excuse me, I didn't realize we were back on the air there.
Okay.
But yeah, it does. We were just talking at the break, Fred and I, about Kafelnikov and the forehand. And, you know, he is young. He's a little, maybe immature, as some would say, but he certainly can improve. And the guy's got so much talent. He's already 3 in the world.
It's number 1 in the world versus number 3 in the world for a place in the semi-final at the World Championship.
Kafelnikov got the well to stand up and take notice of him just a few years ago when he played against Pete Sampras in Australia. At the Australian Open, it was the second round, the round of 64, where Kafelnikov had match points against Sampras, and Sampras got out of that match 9-7 in the 5th. And that's when they said, hey, This kid, well, he was a youngster then. He's only 22 now. And Sampras then said, hey, you're going to see a lot more of this fella. And Sampras is seeing a bit more of him these days.
In fact, Sampras at the time said that he hits the ball as hard as anybody off the ground in the business.
This one here is a tough volley to make from down that low. You really got to have some fine touch, and Sampras says he won't play that one again, I don't think. Look at this, the outstretched arm of Kafelnikov there. He had to take one hand off it. He normally returns with a two-fisted backhand. Broken string. Broken string. He goes through quite a few rackets, Sampras.
Tell us that story, Fred, about the strings that he uses.
There he just threw a racket into the crowd, that one there. So some lucky customer there in the box seats. He got lucky, but Lucien, the guy that, no.
He was throwing it to Paul
He's throwing it to Paul Anacone. This guy thought he was lucky. Anacone's gone down to get it, to go and get it restrung. He says, hey, buddy, no, he's not that good. Not that nice a guy, but Sampras gets his racket strung very tightly.
Did you say he used like squash gut?
Squash gut.
Very
gut,
thin.
Very fine gut at 78 pounds in that frame.
Tight as a board.
Well, I actually thought he was throwing it to the fan too, and Paul came down and said, mate, give it to me. I got to get it strung.
Game point, Sampras. Sails. Deuce.
I'll tell you what that was, Fred, is that Pete's just not happy because he remembers that yesterday, that big point when his racket broke, and he's ticked off. Then he broke again. He looked at Paul right after his saying, gosh, it happened again. And that's when he threw it into the crowd. He's just a little short there, trying to get it over to Anacone.
Sampras.
I must say, Alvarez felt that he should change his rackets more often because it costs him points when those strings break, and it happens at least once or twice a match.
Yeah, well, you can't tell. He uses the stringerlings too, but I guess you really can't tell when you're going to pop one on the serve.
Lendl used to change rackets every ball change.
Yep. This is pretty good stuff too. Brilliant rally.
He's lost a little confidence in that running forehand.
Has not been a good shot for him, and Kafelnikov stays in. Look at the shoulder turn. He steps in there, stays the weight on that front foot as he glides into that approach shot down the line, looking for the volley. There's the stutter step, but the unforced error. Tough to call an unforced error, but that running forehand misses again.
Yeah.
This is a well-played half volley, because if you get it short, then your opponent has too many options. This one goes very deep into the corner. Sampras, he knows his opponent is way behind the baseline, that he's going to be able to cover just about anything off that one.
Second double fault for Sampras. There's the infrared camera, and that mark that you see there is caused by the friction of the heat of the ball against the carpet. And our infrared camera, I should say those are the German television folks who are bringing most of these pictures to you.
First time ever used in tennis here at the World Championship.
There is the camera, the infrared camera of the stadium. Of the court, inside the stadium. Game point, Sampras.
Again, Patrick, he's working that forehand over on the big points, isn't he?
He really is, especially on those second serves.
Another one.
Sampras holds on, and he's got 5-3. Kafelnikov, a winner of 4 titles this year. His singles record of 78 and 23. It's terrific. And then 42 and 23 in doubles, because he has played a lot in doubles. So one of the most prolific player actually on the tour.
Actually, Cliff, he withdrew from the Phoenix World Doubles Championship in Hartford, actually because he wanted to concentrate on his singles here. He wants to be #1 in the world, as you mentioned the other day in the telecast, and he felt he had a big opportunity here in Hanover.
They have been going at it for half an hour now. This is the World Championship of Tennis. It's Expo 2000 Hanover, part of the sponsors of this event. This is Sampras and Kafelnikov playing final day of round-robin competition. And the winner of this match goes into the semi-finals tomorrow. Sampras leading 5-3, Kafelnikov serving. It's 30-15. 40-15. Cliff Drysdale here. Fred Solly's next to me. Patrick McEnroe has a very comfortable seat at courtside.
Very nice down here.
Excellent serving by Kafelnikov. Only one break of serve. Will that be enough? We'll find out. Sampras will serve for the set. First of all, break time. This is live coverage here of the ATP World Championship, and here's a look at what the players string their rackets at. Fred, take a look at this. Very interesting.
This is basically Luciano's the guy down the bottom there that strings Pete Sampras' rackets up there. He goes at about 35 kilos. You see Michael Chang. Then you come down to Boris Becker. Secret. You can see the type of racket. Wilson Pro Star, 35 kilos. Prince Long there, 65 pounds. And then down to Boris Becker.
They all use the Babolat gut.
Secret.
It's kind of funny. I'm not sure what that gives anything away. Bird's eye view of Lars Graf.
Yeah, well played.
15 all.
That was a better running forehand. That's one of the best that he's hit in the last couple of days. And it was a big point because he didn't put the first overhead away in the first point. He gets Kafelnikov way out of court here. Watch this, though. Steps in plenty of time, gets it to the forehand side again.
30-15.
I call that secret thing by Becker, you know, just trying to add a little myth.
Yeah.
You know, you think Pete Sampras or Andre Agassi care what Becker strings his rackets at? I mean, come on. That's for the German fans, I think.
It's interesting to go past that stringing area there, though, and watch those boys work.
They're working right now on one of Pete's rackets.
40-15 now for Sampras. 32 minutes this opening set. Couple of set points.
So there's the set for Sampras. One break. He was in trouble on his own serve. That's where the ball landed to give him the set. Way in. How many break points against him in that set, Fred?
Against Sampras, he was down love 40 in that one service game. That's it.
but he escaped the trap. Patrick, can this guy find a solution to Sampras' game today?
Well, I don't think so, but maybe if he keeps missing those forehands like that, he might have a shot. But certainly got to get more first serves in.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Sampras is going to win this.
I'll tell you what's important is right here early in the set, because so often Pete, when he gets that first set, he likes to try to get that early break in the second set and then just serve it out and then really not waste his energy on the return game necessarily. So if Kafelnikov can just hang with him here, that's big.
Sampras is already way up on serve percentages from yesterday, though. Yesterday overall it was 52%. In the opening set there, 32 minutes it took, he served at 63%. So he's got to be a little happier about his serve.
Just so you know, Kafelnikov, they've played 7 times, Kafelnikov and Sampras. Kafelnikov's never come back from the set down. He's beaten it twice.
Both those on a clay court.
Kafelnikov this year surprised everyone, and I think himself, by winning the French championships. He took out Michael Stich in the final, took out Sampras as well along the way. Played brilliantly, but I'm not sure that he thought he was ready for a Grand Slam. Sampras looking for a call to no avail. First game, second set to the Russian Kafelnikov. ESPN now offers the first ever 24-hour all-sports news network, ESPN News. To get ESPN News, we invite you to call your local cable operator or satellite program provider, and now would be a good time.
Talking about the Grand Slam championships, Kafelnikov not quite being ready for the French, or folks not thinking that way, or he himself not thinking that way. I don't think Sampras thought he was going to win the US Open in 1990, his first Grand Slam win, or Boris Becker claims he was too young when he was 17 and came through unseeded and won at Wimbledon.
Or Michael Chang.
Yep.
At the French, 89.
But it just shows you the talent that's there. Sampras, Becker, Kafelnikov, all in the running for this World Championship.
15.
Or going back even a little bit further, what about Mats Wilander winning the French?
Yeah, that was after Borg had retired, and you think, well, how long is it going to be before another Swede does here? And it happened in about 3 months. There's another look at the infrared right on the line at serve. About the only player that you could say expected to win a Grand Slam, because he lost about 4 or 5 in a row before he did, was Ivan Lendl.
Yeah.
He was ready.
Agassi too. Nice backhand, very controlled. Full swing, 30-15, Sampras.
13.
Becker was saying yesterday how when he played against Sampras, he was surprised and delighted at how well he played from the baseline. Said, I didn't think I could play that well from back there.
We were talking about that this morning. I think the fact that neither player served that well, one at 52%, Sampras at 52, Becker at 49%, contributed to the fact that a lot of second serves. So they had a lot more rallies in that match than we thought they were going to have.
drop volley. Out of reach.
I would say, given his brothers, this is an isolation with Sampras. Look how beautifully he stays down on that shoulder and then gets in behind it, and he anticipates this move, and he goes straight to the spot here. There's the stutter step, straight over to the forehand cross court. I would say 8 out of 10 times when Kafelnikov gets an opportunity, gets time, he goes cross court with that forehand.
Sampras holds on. It is 2 games to 1. The match update looks pretty similar when you balance it out. First serve percentages with Sampras looking a little better, but the winners 14 and 11, balanced by the unforced errors, 13 for Sampras, 16 for Kafelnikov.
Huge hitting from Sampras off the ground, and I think one thing you touched on, Fred, about the first serve percentage repeat, I think part of that is because, as he said in his press conference yesterday, there's that just inside the line. But playing against Becker, he knows Becker has such a great return off the second serve, whereas against Kafelnikov, he feels like he has a little more time. Kafelnikov doesn't take the return quite as early as Becker, hit it as hard.
Bigger swing.
Tit for tat.
Pretty good reflex action there. I'm not sure that he meant it to go there. Look at this, a big swing from Sampras. Looked as though it was past him. And the flick of the wrist, that's what a wristy forehand can do for you.
Yeah, nearly the same kind of shot from Sampras. Remember how many Sampras forehands went by Andre Agassi in his disappointing display against Sampras earlier in the round-robin competition. Then Agassi called it quits. He had the flu or a stomach virus. It's out of here. Sampras said that his loss yesterday to Becker was a tough one to get over. He said he felt he played well enough to win.
Yeah, he did.
And he said that he just, Becker won the important points. Nice. Out of reach.
That's a great move from Sampras to hit that off forehand. He hit it round half court, and it took his opponent way out of court. Just look where he is, out of our camera range, and he sneaks in behind that and then plays a very well executed backhand volley. Break point.
For that, a break to Sampras, 2-1 with a break.
Time.
Well, here's our last shot from Kafelnikov, just clipping the tape down the line, knowing he has to go for a big winner, and then the frustration setting in as he realizes he's down a set and a break to Pete Sampras.
And he got a warning for that, didn't he?
He did get a little warning, yeah.
Pretty good bounce.
Good kick. It almost hit the ball boy.
It was a pretty good serve motion, I thought, Fred. Could you analyze?
This is just what Patrick was talking about, that Sampras had in his mind as far as tactics were concerned today. He wanted to jump on early games in both sets, and he has done that. See if he can now serve it out.
Yeah, he got the break in the first set on the first serve game of Kafelnikov, and Kafelnikov said, oh, come on.
That was a kick serve that he totally mishit.
Up 30 love. Good time to go for an ace on the second serve.
Through the legs, looks good, but doesn't win the point.
Well, this one's good on the highlight reel. If he wanted to stay in it, he should have thrown up another big high lob. But the players like, this is a tough shot. Don't try this at home. He makes it, and that'll make the highlight reel, but Sampras is right on top of the net to take care of it.
Sampras.
There's another look that they're between the legs. You got to get there, get balanced, and look at the racket. You really got to use the wrist, which he does on the forehand anyway. That was a pretty good shot.
Well, you guys are right about that not being a smart shot. And you know what it also does? It says to Pete Sampras that, hey, Kafelnikov, maybe he's not into this, and you know, I might be able to serve this out easily. That sends a message to your opponent right there.
Kafelnikov has a little growing up to do in that respect, doesn't he?
I think so, but Fred pointed out, I mean, he's young, he's had a lot of success early. I mean, he comes from Russia, you know, and all of a sudden he's got all this money.
Drives a Ferrari.
A couple, I think he's got.
You know, we keep talking Russia, and of course that's where he's from, Sochi and then Moscow, and he has an apartment in Moscow, but in fact he spends more time in Germany, Karlsruhe, than anywhere. There are a lot of Russians who have moved to the Karlsruhe area. His buddy Medvedev is one of them.
I think we're seeing Pete starting to find his groove a little bit there. You can see that. What do we call that again? The
infrared cam.
Spy gun or something? Pete's starting to find the groove on the running forehand, I think.
Well, if he wins this match, he goes into the semi-finals, and he's only got a whole serve of three more times to do that, but then he comes up against Ivanisevic, and he's going to need all his powers of concentration in that one.
Took Ivanisevic out at Wimbledon this year. Kafelnikov holds on. It is Sampras leading 3-2 and 1-0. This is the crowd getting ready for the 1 o'clock match today that you can see on ESPN. It is going to be Boris Becker taking on the Swedish player for a place. No, that's not for a place in the semi-final. Second round coverage of the LPGA Tour Championship at the Desert Inn Golf Course in Vegas. Later today, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be Enquist taking on Becker at 1 o'clock on ESPN. And then golf to follow that.
There's that two-fisted backhand up high. An easy one, that one for Sampras. A little bit better rhythm on the serve today.
Kafelnikov, Sampras. Serving at 3-2. Incidentally, it was Sampras didn't beat Ivanisevic, as I mentioned. It was Jason Stoltenberg that beat Ivanisevic at Wimbledon this year.
Sampras.
Sampras holds on 4-2, second set.
4-2. Ball change, please.
See Pete working on saving those strings there, guys, that you guys were talking about earlier. He's got his little string saver there. He says, I only got 2 more service games. Just hold out 2 more games and we're out of here.
Pete Sampras did beat Ivanisevic in the semi-final of Wimbledon, but it was last year. 5 sets.
15
Kafelnikov's got his work cut out. He hasn't broken Sampras yet. Down the set in the break. He lost his first serve game of the match, and he lost his second serve game of the second set. Excellent game from Kafelnikov. 4-3, Sampras to serve. First set, Sampras 6-4. The winner goes to the semi-finals. The Florida Panthers started the season 10-0-2, currently leading the league in winning percentage. The Dallas Stars have remained pretty consistent after their best start in team history. That's NHL hockey in Dallas tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. That's 5:30 out on the West Coast. Sampras serving to Kafelnikov here with Sampras ahead 4-3, love 15.
Sampras going to go for that new racket, the one that's just been brought in. That might be... Every player has a favourite racket. Do you have a favourite racket, Patrick? Or
I'm still searching. But he must have listened to what you guys said earlier, because he changed that. He realized how big this game is. He doesn't want that string to break.
No, I think he should do that more often. I agree.
Pretty smart up there, Cliff.
If he serves a double faulty, he'll throw the thing away. Oh, there you go. Checks the grip. Have a look at that. What did I do that for?
Well, the stringer just brought that back on this last changeover, too, so that's fresh. Right off the stringer.
That's as long as you can see clearly on the infrared spy cam. Heads up, everybody. Break points for Kafelnikov. He's had 3 so far, all in the same game. In the first set, when Sampras was serving at love 40, Sampras came back to win that game. Now, for the first time since then, Kafelnikov has another chance. Little soccer header.
Just thinking there, this is when Sampras, if he's vulnerable, occasionally gets that way. I mentioned it earlier, Patrick did, that he gets out in front, gets that early break. Sometimes lets it slip. Taking that new racket and hasn't had any success with it in this game. Let's see if he goes to the forehand on this one. Second serve out to that Kafelnikov risky forehand. See the disappointed look in the just frustration. He says, I've had a few of those today. Sampras had a lot of them yesterday.
Forehand side, Fred.
Interesting to see if he goes to the forehand on this second serve. He does, yep.
And it sailed. Boy, it worked.
That's obviously a strategy that they came into the match with, Fred. You hit it right on the head. Every big point on the second serve, he's gone to Kafelnikov forehand.
He's got Kafelnikov psyched out. He's practicing it between points now. There's the little machine that tells you with a little electronic gadget that now calls the net cords.
Overrule there from the umpire. He's not happy.
You know, they've got to be very careful. Let's listen.
It was wide. He was right.
Good call. Sampras still doesn't like it.
It's clearly up. Who are we playing on play? Who are we playing on play? One match over in one shot. A 4-3 deuce.
As you can see there, it looks wide, but Kafelnikov went up and actually pointed at a mark. And Pete said, what, are we playing on clay here? So, I don't think he appreciated Kafelnikov telling him where the ball landed, but...
Except Kafelnikov was right. Second serve. Now a break point for Kafelnikov. His third of this game. He had 15-40.
Pete also mentioned to the umpires to see this pretty backhand from Kafelnikov up the line, taking it early. Pete also mentioned to the umpire, said, hey, you haven't overruled the ball the whole match. Now it's deuce 4-3 and you overrule it.
Yes, he's got to sort of calm himself down here. He has not played a good game in this double fault he's had, and another break point. He's looking at a second serve.
Oh, that's a great shot. Two-hander. Whipped down the line. Out of reach. Break for the Russian. Back on serve. So Sampras served for the second set against Becker yesterday and failed. And he has been broken again here in the second set. 4 games all.
Well, Kafelnikov hit 2 miraculous two-handers down the line. He was patient until he got the one that he wanted. This is similar to the point before, only he's about another 6 feet out further. But he cracks it right over the high point of the net, deep into the corner for the winner.
You're looking at live coverage here of the ATP Tour World Championship from Hanover. This is the first match of the day, and it is Pete Sampras taking on Yevgeny Kafelnikov. The winner of this match goes into the semi-finals tomorrow of the World Championship to play Goran Ivanisevic, who won the white division.
I think that's a good play from Sampras. Here he has blocked 2 serves back. He hasn't tried to go for the big forehand. He has blocked them back in order to get into the point, and he's had 2 unforced errors from Kafelnikov.
And both from the forehand, Fred.
He won the first set. It's 4 games all.
Again, he blocks it back. Too good a serve, though, that one.
15-30.
Keeps his eye right on the ball, waits for that to get around about waist high, chest high. That's where the boys like to hit that one, when you hit it with topspin.
You know, that's only his 3rd double fault of the match, his first of this set.
Boy, was that a tight second serve there. Big points now for Sampras.
Mishit. Still break point, 30-40. Kafelnikov has won 80% of the points when he gets his first serve in.
Getting ready for that one. The ball gets behind. See, he fell back on that one. Just falling off it caused him to miss-hit that. Didn't stay on that front foot. You lean backwards, and sometimes that's enough to miscue the ball.
Break point, second serve.
Sneak into the net. That was a long rally. Maybe he got a bit winded. Both of them deserve to get winded. The amount of coverage on this. Look, from side to side. Back again. Couple of steps. Play the slice. This is the little dink one that forces Sampras to go back on his heels. And then he played or attempted to play the little drop shot.
You guys are right. Both guys are winded. They covered a lot of ground there. Kafelnikov still breathing hard.
Broken string.
Slice.
Broken string. Keep it in play. Oh, he called it wide.
Wide, and Kafelnikov doesn't like the call. He thinks he got hooked. And I don't think that our infrared is going to be able to give us the real picture here, because that ball wasn't hit hard enough. It needs some bite on the ball, because it's the heat that generates the picture.
There's the one that did it. That's the shot that broke the string.
And that was a fresh racket. That was brand new, Fred. Pete really got the call out of the linesman on that one, though. Break point.
No. Miss-hit at the backhand, and it's deuce.
Kafelnikov knew he only had to keep that ball in play because Sampras had the broken string. You can't do anything with it. He played a smart shot by just trying to get the ball back over the net with the drop shot, but still he fails to convert on the big point, Sampras. For 4 in this set, Sampras on break points.
He's usually so good in that respect. His numbers are very good, and you know he'll dig himself out of a hole on his own serve better than anybody else, and the statistics prove that. And then he gets a look at a break, and usually he takes his chances. But not this tournament. He had so many against Becker yesterday, and he's had a lot today against Kafelnikov.
This is the longest game of the match so far.
The winner, remember, goes into the semi-finals tomorrow. This is the final day of round-robin competition. The winner to play Ivanisevic for a place in the World Championship final.
That's precious.
Deuce for the 3rd time here.
Now Kafelnikov's going to change his racket. Said Pete's still huffing and puffing a little bit from that long point back earlier in the game. You know, it's funny. Sometimes indoors you're used to playing such quick points with big serves, 1-2 shot tennis. All of a sudden when you have to play a long point, you know, sometimes it surprises you a little bit. You're not used to it. It takes a while to recover. That's what's happened with Pete this game, I think. See him still breathing hard.
Yep. And that may be the results of that point. You know, you get a long point like that, it can take 2 or 3 points. As you mentioned, he's breathing hard, and that's all you need just to miscue a little bit here.
Exactly, just what you said, Chris. Pulling up a little bit. That's what you do when you get a little tired. You pull up, you pull off the shot.
Game point. And that's only his 4th, but 2 in this game, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 in this game. Neither one of them want this game. This is the most important game of the set at the moment. 4-all. This is for 5-4. Big game for Sampras, though. If he can break here, he can serve for it.
Kafelnikov's a little upset with himself. I won't blame him, because he really had a good shot at that two-handed pass, and he was put up a very tame effort.
4-time Sampras.
This one right here, take a look. Now he's in here in plenty of time. He could have gone down the line, could have gone cross-court. He goes for the topspin lob, and he just didn't get it high enough. Open court. Nice. Nice angle from where he was.
That was a tough shot, because that ball was had a lot of spin and was very short.
And he flicks his wrist. He's forced to really flick his wrist at that one, isn't he?
Oh, particularly on break point. He knows if he loses that point, Pete's going to serve for the match. Pete made a great decision in that point, and I was thinking to myself during this game, he's got to go down the line with the backhand a little bit. That way he'll set up his own forehand. And Kafelnikov usually, as you said, Fred, has to go cross-court with the forehand. Pete's got the big forehand to set up that point.
Break point. There is the breaker serve that Sampras has been looking for. He gets it. He will serve now for the match. He won the first set 6-4. He leads 5 games to 4. A reminder that if he wins this game, he will be in the semi-final to take on Yevgeny. If he beats him, Patrick, it could be a rematch of yesterday's drama with Becker.
Well, that would certainly be unbelievable if he could get through Yevgeny, of course, win this match, and then get through to play Boris. But as I said, that was such a smart move by Pete Sampras in that big deuce point, because he'd been going cross-court to the Kafelnikov backhand, and Kafelnikov was in a good groove on the backhand, and he was winning most of those points. Pete felt that. He went down the line with the backhand to Kafelnikov's forehand. As you guys have talked about, Kafelnikov has been a little shakier on the forehand. Plus, Kafelnikov likes to go cross-court, so then that sets up Pete's forehand. He had that huge forehand up the line, ended up winning the point, then getting the break point. Very smart move by Pete Sampras.
We keep talking about Sampras. If he gets through here and beats Kafelnikov and then gets through and beats Yevgeny, he's going to play Becker. Hey, Becker's got to get through there too. Don't worry about that.
I was thinking the same thing.
Becker's got to beat Enquist, and then he's got to get through and beat whoever. He might have to play Krajcek. He might have to play Muster. It's not a given yet. Yeah, although playing here in Hanover in Germany, I'd like to have a few bucks on it.
I think it's a given against Muster, but I don't think it's a given against Krajcek. As well as Krajcek serves, he could serve him off the court, but I don't think it's going to happen like you, Fred. Tell you what impresses me about Becker, outside of Agassi, I think, certainly for an indoor court, he's got the best return of serve of all of these guys.
Well, he's got a shorter swing than most of these boys, too, I think, Cliff, that helps. Well, he's able to shorten it down. I think when he's got time off that forehand side, it's a big swing, but the backhand, he just
locks it back.
Yeah, exactly. Knocks it out. And I think he has the ability to shorten it down indoors on the forehand side. Well, made it. Sigh of relief.
I don't know how you explain this. He served for the second set against Becker yesterday. Another reminder of that fact, and lost it.
And he missed all first serves in that game. He made one first serve out of 8 or 9, and he's missed both in this game. That's what Paul Anacone said to me. You know, when he served for that set, he missed all his first serves. He needs a couple right here.
Got one. That's his 11th ace. Nice motion, very simple, straight arm, places it up there about 3 feet above and keeps the head up, shoulder and arm come through, stretch up as far as you can go. Boy, 2 double fault. Double fault there. Yeah. Well, he's certainly making it difficult for himself.
Break points for Kafelnikov. Just so you know, on all 4 occasions when Sampras and Becker have met in the round-robin stage of this event, the loser has gone on to win the final. That's Ili Nastase.
Infrared, you can see just the heat, how that works. That camera, it's very interesting. First time ever used in a tennis match.
Now, of course, a tennis tournament. Yep. That's nice and it's over. But it was a hard work day for Pete Sampras.
Yeah, well, Sampras was a little cleaner than he was yesterday, Chris, but he finished up the day.